This is Beyond Category, and I'm Eric Felten. We're here at the historic Bohemian Caverns Jazz Nightclub in Washington, D.C. to hear a jazz guitarist named Matthew Stevens. For the better part of a decade, he's been one of the most in-demand sidemen in jazz. Now he's stepping forward as a leader of his own group. They're going to be here tonight, but we get to check them out right now. Matthew Stevens, fantastic. Band sounds
Thank you
fabulous.
so much. Thank you.
You've really made a name for yourself as a sideman with all sorts of terrific players, Esperanza Spalding, Christian Scott. Do you draw on a lot of what you've gotten from other bands you work with, or do you kind of do something completely different from what you were doing in other contexts to try to sort of make it your own statement?
I think, musically speaking, I of course, like any musician, I want to make it my own statement, and it feels very personal to me. In terms of how I want to lead a band and present a group and work a set of music and present a record, there's things that I've taken from everybody that I've worked with, I think. Ways that they have of doing things that I feel like really work well, and whether it be the way that they organize a set, or a certain manner that they may have with an audience, or any number of things like that. Just everybody has their own style of band leading, and there's great things that you can learn from all those people. And so I've kind of picked and chosen little things that I like that all these great leaders that I've worked with have done. And I'm sure that without even thinking about it, it's worked its way into my own band leading.
And then there's just the fun of being a band leader itself.
Absolutely.
Like on the way to this show today, the bus broke down.
That's right,
and that's
exactly.
your responsibility when you're the band leader. So you have to deal with all sorts of things other than just making music as well.
Exactly, and so I'm really lucky in that all the guys in my band are really close friends, and we've gotten to play a lot, and so I know the music will take care of itself, and I know that we don't have to make sure that we get there 3 hours ahead of time to rehearse everything and sort of make sure that we got it all together. We can at this point with this book of music and with these guys, it's an amazing relief to sort of go, okay, if we just get there, it'll be cool. The rest of it will take care of itself.
Matt Stevens, tearing it up, tearing
Thank
it
you.
up. There are a lot of really good guitar players out right now. Nir
Certainly.
Felder, Julian Lage,
Yeah.
Jonathan Kreisberg, all of these fabulous players. So really to have made a name for yourself in the era of great guitar players is no small feat. What is it about guitar that is so in sync with this moment in jazz?
I think in this moment in jazz and in music in general, people are really, really open to letting any possible influence seep into what it is that they're doing. People are really curious about that. People are experimenting a lot with different instrumentation, different sounds, and I think that there's a real interest and hunger for what happens when you just let it all in, stir it around, and see what comes out. More so than taking, one particular genre and another particular genre and just putting them together. That's sort of the music that inspires me the most, Well,
it's not only that there are a lot of elements, but also some of the nature of the music itself, the time signatures. It's kind of hard to nail down exactly what the time signature is when you're just listening, and it's hard to nail down maybe where the tonal center is. The chords are kind of cycling around in unpredictable ways, but it all hangs together and it grooves, but you don't know exactly where the groove is.
Yeah. If there's a really strong rhythmic undercurrent to what's happening, you can get really loose and experimental with what's happening harmonically and melodically. I mean, just circling back to guitar, I think that, guitar has always been a really interesting instrument, especially in jazz, because guitar players are so inherently different from one another, and I think it has a lot to do with the fact that there isn't a canon in terms of the way that electric guitar is taught now, or ever has been. You as a trombone player are aware that you show up to 7th grade and you go, I want to play trombone, and they go, okay, here's your trombone and here's this method book, and then you getting your ABCs together on the trombone has been the way that everybody else has gotten their ABCs together on the trombone too, and then it's up to you to find something that you feel represents yourself. And on guitar, there's really no established way that the instrument is taught, and so everybody's really left to their own devices. It really is an instrument that produces a lot of unique personalities.
Well, let's see if we can make trombone work with guitar, and let's do something together. What should we do together?
I have a tune called Brothers that I think would be great.
That's a great tune.
Okay, great.
Let's give it a try.
Great.
Matthew Stevens. Matthew Stevens, that was beautiful. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
letting me sit in.
Thanks
That
for
was,
playing with us.
fun.
You sound fantastic.
Thanks. So you are from Canada. Grew up in
Yes.
Toronto.
Yes, that's right.
A lot of great jazz musicians out of Canada. It kind of gets
Absolutely.
overlooked. Of course, the great icon of Canadian jazz, Oscar Peterson.
Yes.
But there must have been other players on the scene you looked up to while you were growing up there.
Absolutely. Toronto actually is an amazing guitar town, and it always has been. To be able to go and see guys like truly world-class musicians, and especially guitar players in my hometown growing up was fantastic.
You've gotten to play with all sorts of great bands. How did you cut your teeth on learning to bring whatever is needed to a particular group?
A lot of the time, if you can just take a step back and listen to the music, listen to what the song is asking for, listen to what the situation is asking for, and just try to add to the overall aesthetic of what's happening, and not go into it with a preconceived idea of what it is that you have to do, or you have to make sure that you do this or that you do that, or that you present yourself in this particular way or this other way. If you can just sort of show up like an open book and just be open to what the music needs and what it's asking for in that moment, ideally you can do something halfway decent.
Well, it's been great having you on the show today.
Thank you so much.
Let's get
been
you
our
guys
pleasure.
up for one more tune. Wow, what fresh, exciting music. I'd like to thank Matthew Stevens and his band, and I'd like to thank the historic Bohemian Caverns Jazz Nightclub for hosting us. Most of all, I'd like to thank you for watching us. I'm Eric Felten, and I hope you'll join me for more good music on Beyond Category.